If you're watching this as a parent, you probably already know the signs. The late nights, the stress, the argument that started because you asked one innocent question about the essay and somehow 20 minutes later you're both upset and nothing got done. You want to help. You're just not sure how to do that without making things worse. If you're a student, you're probably overwhelmed, not entirely sure you want your parents' help anyway, and possibly a little annoyed that they sent you this video. That's fair, and I hear you. I've been on both sides of this. I'm a licensed school counselor and a mental health counselor with over 20 years of experience guiding students through the college application process. I've sat across from thousands of families in exactly this situation. And I'm also a mom. Both of my kids have been through this process. My oldest daughter was an Abraham Lincoln Scholar at Gettysburg College, and my youngest daughter was a presidential scholar at USC. Of course, I'm so proud of both of them, but I also want you to know that they did the work. But here's what I can also tell you. Even knowing everything I know about this process, even with 20 years of doing this for other people's kids, my own children did not want to listen to me. They did things their own way for a while. They stressed about the wrong things. They avoided the hard parts. And when they finally listened, it still wasn't easy because this process is genuinely hard, even when you know what you're doing. So if you're a parent wondering why your teenager won't hear you on this, I completely understand. And if you're a student thinking your parents are overreacting, I understand that too. This course exists because there should be a better way through this than white-knuckling it. Let me show you what that looks like. Here's what I've watched happen to students and families for 2 decades. Students go into this without a real plan. They get advice from YouTube videos, from older siblings or other family members who applied 5 or more years ago when things were different. They get advice from their school counselor, who generally wants to help, but in most public schools is responsible for 400 to 600 students. There's just no time for the depth of support students need when they're applying to college. So students bounce a lot. They start an essay, they hate it, they start over, they fill out parts of the applications without knowing if they're telling a coherent story. They procrastinate, not because they're lazy, but because no one has broken this down for them in a way that actually makes sense. Here's what almost no one is talking about: the mental health piece. The anxiety, the perfectionism, the crushing feeling that your entire future is being decided by a stranger reading a 650-word essay. That's a lot of weight for any teenager to carry. I'm trained in both college admissions and mental health. That combination is unusual in this space. And it means when I built this course, I didn't just think about the steps of the application. I thought about the student doing them because I've seen what happens when you don't. I also want to say something directly. Most college prep programs focus on one thing, usually the essays, one piece of a much larger process. What I've built covers the whole application process, from figuring out what your student actually wants to say about themselves, to building a school list, to the activity section, to every essay prompt, to the final checklist before they hit submit. All of it, not just the part that's easiest to sell. So here's what I've created. It's called From Stressed Out to Stand Out, 10 Steps to an Outstanding College App that walks students through the entire process in order with a structure that actually respects their mental health along the way. The 10 steps follow the natural flow of the application, so you always know what to do next and nothing falls through the cracks. We start with the self-reflection and story building. Most students skip this and end up stuck on the essay later. We don't skip it. We figure out what your student actually wants to say about themselves before they write a single word. And that changes everything. Then we move through the practical work, building a realistic college list, understanding what admissions officers are actually looking for, writing a personal statement that sounds like your student, tackling the supplemental essays, getting recommendations, and handling the parts that always get put off. Built into every step are what I call well-being breaks, grounding exercises, reflection prompts, and tools to help students stay regulated when the pressure spikes. These are not extras, they're a part of the process. Because how your student feels while they're doing this work directly affects the quality of what they produce. There's also a parent mini course, a shorter track designed specifically for parents, how to support without taking over, what to say and what not to say, how to be a resource instead of added pressure. I built this because I know how hard it is to watch your kids struggle and not know how to help without making it worse. I lived that. You'll also get done-for-you tools, timeline checklists, application trackers, a weekly planning board, and communication scripts for reaching out to teachers and admissions officers. Nobody should have to figure out how to cold email an admissions office when they're already overwhelmed. This is a complete system with everything included in one place, not scattered over multiple courses you have to buy separately, and not a collection of tips. The investment for everything I just described is $397. If it's easier to spread that out, you can split it into smaller payments. That's handled automatically at checkout. No code required. And this matters for me. For every family that enrolls, I fund a scholarship for a high-achieving student from a lower-income household who couldn't otherwise access this. If that's your family, there's a scholarship application on my website. I want everyone who joins to feel completely safe about this. So go through the first 5 steps, do the work. If at the end of those 5 steps you don't feel more clear, more organized, and more confident, reach out, show me your completed work, and I'll refund you in full, no questions asked. I included the completed work piece because this process works when students actually engage with it. That's what I've seen over 20 years, and yes, that includes my own kids eventually. If this resonated with you, parent or student, and you're heading into an application season that already feels overwhelming, I'd love to have you inside the course. Click the button below to enroll, and I'll see you on the other side. And if you're a student who's been forced to watch this, I promise it's worth it. My own kids would probably even admit that now. The students I've helped for the past 20 years would definitely tell you it's worth it. And before you go, I want to remind you of something really important. You are so much more than your application. Your worth isn't measured by acceptance letters or rejection emails. I want you to know that your story matters. Tell it honestly, tell it bravely, and know that I'm always here cheering you on. I hope to see you inside.